Hey, what is up, everyone? This is Michael Ogbonna, and welcome to the channel if you're new. If you're very new, um, just a little bit about myself. I am a pharmacist that applied to medical school and got in, and I am starting in about 21 days from the recording of this video. So I don't know if I'm gonna post it the same day I record it, but as of this moment, there's 20 days until I start medical school. And I just thought that leading up to when I start, I'm going to pull back the curtain and let you guys in on my application and just some details about what I did when I applied and all that. So, in this video, I'm going to literally read you my personal statement and give you guys some tips on how you can make your personal statement stand out. For me, obviously being a pharmacist, my personal statement was very important. They say that your personal statement is one of the most important parts of your application. So it's important that you approach it the right way. And for me, um, you know, in a personal statement, you pretty much have to persuade the admissions committee to explain to them why you want to be a doctor and why you're choosing to go into medicine. And so, for someone like me who is a pharmacist that already has an established high paying job, they're going to look and scrutinize my personal statement very hard because they want to know how serious I am. And so because of that, I had to be very deliberate and very specific and very concise and to the point with writing my personal statement. So I'm gonna just read it to you guys, and we'll just kind of have some commentary, and I'll give you my train of thought. So here I go. I'm gonna minimize myself real quick. I just figured out how to use this. I'm using ecom. Okay, here. So let's see. All right, here we go. This is my personal statement. I can make it a little bigger. Let's see. All right. Let me move my screen a little bit. All right. Let's read it together, guys. So many people told me that after I started working as a pharmacist, making money, and building a family, my desire to pursue medicine would vanish. Surprisingly, only the opposite has occurred, which is why I'm writing to you now. Obviously, that was a very strong hook that left people with suspense. Um, and so that was the goal. So it's always important to have this hook that captures the reader's attention in the first sentence. And I felt like that was a decent one. Um, so next paragraph. Though I was born in the United States, my parents were born in Nigeria and immigrated to America in the 90s. In Nigerian culture, there is a lot of pressure to go into the medical field, more specifically, to become a physician. I had a passion to work in the medical field from a young age, but I knew that if I was going to endure the rigorous schooling process required to become a physician, doing it to please my parents could not be my sole motivation. Seeing my father work as a pharmacist and working in a pharmacy myself throughout high school naturally drew me to pursue this field. Therefore, I was set on becoming a pharmacist with no plans of becoming a physician. So this paragraph is pretty significant, obviously, and I kind of gave them them as in the admissions committee. I gave them some background on my life. From this paragraph, they know that my parents are Nigerian and that I was born in America. They know that obviously about the Nigerian culture, how there's a pressure and an expectation to go into these high paying, secure jobs like engineering or medical. And I explained to them how I've had a passion to work in the medical field, not necessarily to become a physician, but to work in the medical field from a young age. And I kind of highlighted the kind of thing that I wasn't doing it just to, I'm not going to do it just to please my parents. I want to do it for, for something that's deeper than just to please my parents. So I addressed that. And then I also addressed how I ended up in pharmacy to answer the question of why did you do pharmacy in the first place? I explained how seeing my father work as a pharmacist, working in a pharmacy myself throughout high school naturally drew me to pursue this field. And then I ended it with I had no plans of becoming a physician, which is true. I didn't have plans going into pharmacy school that I was going to become a physician. So that addressed a lot in that second paragraph. So let's go to this paragraph. As I started clinical rotations in pharmacy school, I began to realize a new desire. I was part of a team in the hospital that included an attending physician, residents, medical students, a pharmacy student, and our preceptor. During morning rounds, the patients were discussed by the team. My pharmacy preceptor focused on the patient's medications and used it as an opportunity to test our knowledge of specific drug names and side effects. The attending physician asked the medical students questions regarding the meaning of abnormal lab values, what the causes could be, and how they would address them. He then auscultated a patient's lungs and asked one of the medical students to come and listen. I wanted to ask, can I listen too? Being in this environment made me realize that I had a desire to treat the entire patient rather than solely focusing on their pharmacotherapy. So this paragraph obviously is being used to describe like the seed moment where I first realized I wanted to be a doctor. And as you can tell, I told it in a story in like a lot of detail. And it's important that obviously you hear whenever you get advice about personal statements, everyone will tell you, you better show, don't tell. Don't just tell them about things, show it through a story. And so I have a couple other stories that I added to this personal statement, but this is a story of me when I first had that seed moment where I realized I wanted to be a doctor. And then I finished that paragraph with saying that I realized that I had a desire to treat the entire patient rather than focusing on the pharmacotherapy. So that's like a reason number one that I wanted to switch from pharmacy to medicine. Then I went to this next paragraph. I immediately arranged an opportunity to shadow a physician. He was a gastroenterologist whom I observed in the operating room and clinic. As I shadowed him, I was captivated by these three things: his ability to provide instant relief through a surgical procedure, his autonomy in the treatment plan of his patients, and his positive influence on patient behaviors. I was inspired by the passion he exuded, and the fulfillment he had was evident and contagious. This experience reinforced the desire I felt during rotations. From this point forward, I knew I had to pursue medicine as a vocation. I'm just going to keep reading and then we'll talk about it after. Since then, I have graduated from pharmacy school, got married, purchased a home, and worked full-time as a pharmacist. What I witness at work consistently sparks my curiosity in medicine, stimulating me to learn more about the diseases and treatments that I encounter in the patients I care for daily. This helps to feed my intense hunger for knowledge, but many days I still feel unfulfilled. I desire to be more fully involved in the treatment of my patients. One day in the pharmacy, a regular patient told me he was scheduled to have a major open heart surgery. He expressed to me how nervous he was because it came about unexpectedly. My heart was moved with compassion to figure out how I could help this patient. At that moment, all I could do was simply offer words of encouragement, comfort, and prayer. A moment later, he stopped by the pharmacy. Oh, not a moment. A month later, he stopped by the pharmacy to tell me that his surgery was successful and that he felt great. He thanked me for taking the time to talk to him prior to the surgery and claimed that my acts played a role in his positive outcome. Those words are something a healthcare professional dreams of hearing from a patient. After feeling so moved without having done anything tangible to help, I began to wonder how the cardiothoracic surgeon who performed a successful surgery must feel. Physicians are blessed with the unique ability to play a versatile and significant role in solving patients' medical problems, whether through medical education, diagnosis, treatment, or even surgery. The opportunity to be trained to do this would be a high honor. My parents overcame the many challenges that come with immigrating to a new country. Watching my father build a successful independent pharmacy on his own and my mother work as a nurse while raising three children taught me that no matter what I do, success in life requires hard work, dedication, and a no excuse mindset. These characteristics that were demonstrated by my parents have been instilled in me and have driven me throughout my life. I believe my background in pharmacy will be an aid to me if given the privilege to further my medical education and will add a uniqueness to my approach to patient care. The compassion and desire I have to help patients with their medical ailments, along with my strong determination, zeal, and hunger to learn, will greatly assist me as I venture on this journey. Heading in this direction at this point in my life has taken a leap of faith with much uncertainty for the future. However, there is peace and excitement about about what the future could look like. I have a deep longing to offer not just encouraging words, but tangible, hands-on help to patients at their greatest time of need. Hey man, so what do y'all think? Yeah, so honestly, I thought this ended up being pretty good. I feel like I got a lot of good feedback whenever I asked for it to be proofread. I got feedback that it was very moving, that it was honest. People were saying it's one of the best they've ever read, which I mean I don't know about that, but I do feel like I did a good job of telling stories and giving my. I wasn't trying to be like super extravagant in my writing. I wasn't trying to be like go out of my way to be like unique or stand out. I just told it how it was, how it happened, and used stories to describe the process that took me from not even wanting to be a physician to the first desire I had to shadowing, and then to the exact reasons why being a physician is different than being a pharmacist and why I can't do certain things as a pharmacist that I will be able to do as a physician. So, um, let's see here. I started. So in this paragraph where I started talking about the shadow, when I shadow the physician, I focus on three things. These three things that I said I was captivated about are things that are essentially specific to doctors. Because, for example, like I didn't want to say something that a PA could do or a nurse practitioner could do or any other healthcare professional, right? I needed to give reasons specifically for why a doctor, why I want to be a doctor and why I couldn't do this as a pharmacist or any other healthcare profession. So obviously, I was captivated by the instant relief through surgical procedure. The only doctors can do surgery. His autonomy in the treatment plans of his patients, the freedom that he had, the ability to make his own decisions and to come up with a plan. That is mostly done by the physicians. Obviously, everyone is included in that plan to help with that plan, but the doctors are the one that ultimately decide what they get to do, what medications to prescribe, what labs to order, stuff like that. And then I said the positive influence on patient behaviors, which obviously any healthcare professional that's good will have a positive influence on patient behavior. So this one obviously could apply to every healthcare professional, but the first two were specifically, essentially, focused on doctors. So And then I wrote this from this point. This was the point where I knew I had to pursue medicine as a vocation. Then I brought him back to, I kind of added this paragraph. Like, I graduated pharmacy school, got married, purchased a home, worked full time as a pharmacist. I added this to kind of show the conflict that I had, where I was pretty much settled, pretty secure in my job, working, married, building a family, pretty much had no reason to ever decide to go back to school. But while I was at work, I wrote, what I witnessed at work consistently sparked my curiosity and made me want to learn more. And then I wrote that I still felt unfulfilled. So after getting married, getting a job, working full time, buying a home, getting settled in life, going to work every day, I still felt unfulfilled. And I wrote why. I had a desire to be more fully involved in the treatment of my patients. And so this is something that obviously I felt like I was unfulfilled as a pharmacist, and that fulfillment would come by becoming a physician and being able to do more and be more involved. So that was kind of the message I was trying to get across. Then I told this leading after I said this about wanting to be more involved, I told a moving story about a patient from the pharmacy that we had a conversation. He was about to have open heart surgery, and I gave him encouraging words, talked to him, prayed for him, and he told me that what I did like played a huge part in his success, which obviously I believe that it did. But then I kind of contrasted with how the feeling that I felt just from, without even tangibly like doing anything other than giving him positive, encouraging words. But then I contrasted it with the cardiothoracic surgeon, the actual surgeon that performed the surgery, how he must have felt from having this successful surgery and being able to be that heavily involved in the positive outcome of a patient. And then I wrote, physicians are blessed with the unique ability to play a versatile and significant role in solving patients' medical problems, whether through medical education, diagnosis, treatment, or even surgery. The opportunity to be trained to do this will be a high honor. Then I concluded it by tying it all together. I brought my parents back into it, which I feel like was good. And I talked about how, watching my parents taught me, like, I didn't focus on my parents. I brought them into it, but then I redirected it to me. So you don't want to overemphasize certain things that don't matter, because essentially this is a personal statement, which is personal to you, not anyone else. And so I brought up my parents, but I made it and brought it back to me. And I talked about how, watching my father build a successful independent pharmacy on his own and my mother work as a nurse while raising 3 kids taught me that no matter what I do, success in life requires hard work, dedication, and a no excuse mindset. And obviously these are things that I saw in my father and my mother. I said that these characteristics that were demonstrated by my parents have been instilled in me and have driven me throughout my life. So by telling these things, I'm giving them more background about myself, my parents, the way I am, my personality. Then I addressed obviously the elephant in the room, and I said I believe my background in pharmacy will be an aid to me if given the privilege to further my medical education, and will add a uniqueness to my approach to patient care. And I just kind of started selling myself a little bit, but I say these things like the compassion and desire I have to help patients. I didn't just, even though I'm saying it and telling it in the conclusion, I had already told 2 stories, or about a story where I demonstrated my compassion for the patients, and I demonstrated my drive to learn by, describing how, at work I would look things up and I would have a desire to look into these disease states while I was at work. So I already explained these things. So I'm just concluding it and wrapping it all up. And then I ended it with this: heading in this direction at this point in my life has taken a leap of faith with much uncertainty for the future. So that was obviously being transparent, being pretty vulnerable there, just connecting with the reader, something that they would understand. And if they were in, putting them in my shoes, they would understand. It's kind of being vulnerable and authentic. And then I said, but however, there's peace and excitement about what the future looks like. Then I ended it with this sentence, which is like a strong final sentence for the reason why I want to be a doctor. So I have a deep longing to offer not just encouraging words, but tangible, hands-on help to patients at their greatest time of need. Da-dum, right there. So I feel like that was a good ending to it. And so I guess just some general frameworking advice that I did, and the thought process that I had going into this. Obviously you want to have a hook and you want to have a strong ending. You want to make sure you tell stories. So I thought about my most memorable and most touching patient encounters that I had, and I tried to see which one would fit into what I was already talking about. And so obviously I focused on making sure I describe my moment where I really decided I want to be a doctor, the seed. And then I essentially was just trying to be as authentic as possible, tell stories, connect with the reader, give details to let the reader get to know me, before they even see the rest of my application. It just allow them to get to know me on a personal level without going overboard, and obviously doing it within 5,300 characters. So, hey, let me know what you guys think. And I'm actually going to create a little document that will have like a little framework for how you can go about writing a personal statement if you're getting ready to write yours. If you need any help or if you have any questions for me concerning mine and the approach that I made, just you can either comment down below and I'll reach out to you, or just you can email me at my personal email, mcogbana@gmail.com, and I'll get back to you. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Good luck to anyone that's applying for the 2024 cycle. And yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Please subscribe and like this post just so we can get this to as many people as possible. Thanks so much.